only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Over no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we are going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our fermenter-tainer.
Wayne Baker.
And as par for the course, we are joined by not only, again, a fourth, but also a fifth beer buster, and these are two guys that we're very glad to have back on the show, our first repeat guests that we have had. Gentlemen, we have
Luke.
And
Trevor.
from Evil Genius Beer Company. Gentlemen, thank you so much for putting up with us again for another night.
Thanks for having us.
I can't tell you how excited I am to have you guys back on the show here.
You know what? The first episode you guys were on was number 7.
And now we're on 14.
And this is number 14.
Oh, that's
wow.
cool.
So it's
all
nice.
right, so you'll
Lucky
come back
sevens.
to 21, right?
I guess so.
All right, cool.
We'll finally be legal then.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Our podcast can drink in the States. All right. Well, just kind of get things going a little bit, let's do this. All right, so we have a few stories that we found that I thought were kind of worthy of sharing the wealth on. Now, the first thing that I saw here is an article that claims that beer has health benefits, which I'm very glad to hear. So people who tell me I'm destroying my liver can just kind of buzz off now.
Destroying your liver, but the rest of your
The
body
rest
is
of my
gonna be all right.
body is now fine. So it starts off saying that we're always told that drinking is bad for us and that drinking leads to bad health. This infographic tells us just the opposite. And the article I found was really just a picture.
This infographic on a podcast.
On a podcast. There is a visual element that I'm trying to describe. Now, let's see here.
Can you see it?
I can. Actually, no, I had to put it into a list so we could print it up. Yeah,
It's
Well,
not
through the
even a
magic of
visual
the internet,
anymore.
we will post a link.
we can do that.
We can do that.
We have the technology.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild it.
We can.
All right, cool. If we build it, they will come. I'm done now. Sorry. So the first thing that they had with the health benefits were that beer can promote strong bones, and it contains a rare nutrient, silicone, which helps to strengthen your bones. And drinking beer has even been found to decrease chances of getting bone diseases. There's also benefits with your heart. The Nutrition Journal did a study on beer and found that beer reduces the risk of cardiovascular problems. And there were other studies that kind of helped to corroborate that. Is that the right word, corroborate?
Yeah.
It is now. It also contains antioxidants, which will help to rebuild your cells and contribute to a long life. And this one I thought was actually pretty interesting. It lowers your chances of cancer thanks to hops. Now, hops will contain...
I've read that before, yeah.
I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, but polyphenols?
Polyphenols.
That sounds right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which they lower bad cholesterol
Science.
levels. Yeah. You know what? I don't have that on my soundboard. I put that in post for the last episode.
Ah, well, you can do it again.
All right. So it'll help to lower your bad cholesterol levels. It will kill viruses, and it's even been known to fight cancer. And the best part about this is micro beers and microbrews and craft beers that we've all come to love, they contain more hops than your mass-produced brands, which means that overall, craft beer will reduce your chances of cancer more so than Budweiser, Coors, Millers, all that kind of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, I've heard before, like a glass of red wine a day is good for you.
Right.
It's one of those things in moderation. I mean, obviously, if you're raging drunk, it's not good for you.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
like we joked about with your liver coming into play, your liver can really get damaged, and the liver. And I've learned this throughout the years. It's supposed to, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. I apologize, anyone that knows anything about medicine. But your liver basically helps regenerate. The more abuse it takes from alcohol over the years, the less likely it is to do that, which will lead to other issues along the way. But that's depressing, so let's not think of it.
You can always get a new liver.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is America. You can get a new liver.
That's right.
For the right price on the black market. There's also
In China.
Much like Doctor Who, your liver regenerates.
Yes. There's also and I like this word, there's a plethora of B vitamins in beer. Each beer contains many B vitamins, which help there's a few things. They help ease stress, they help reduce heart disease risk, they aid in your memory, and they help to build and strengthen your muscle. Now, they had average nutrition facts on this picture that I saw, that the average can of beer will contain about 153 calories. Now, there's no calories from fat, 0 grams of fat, 0 milligrams of cholesterol, 1% of your daily value of sodium, 4% of your daily value of carbs, and only 2 grams of fat. So it is not as unhealthy as you like to believe. And they also had 5 beers that they say taste good and they're the healthiest ones. There's Sam Adams Light, there is Guinness Draft, there's Purple Haze, there's Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and I like the name of this one, Good Juju.
Good juju is good juju for
Yes.
you.
So keep drinking your beer in moderation because you may actually be healthier.
You know,
from
you
it.
mentioned bone strength, and I recently read something. I start a lot of sentences with that phrase.
You do. I've noticed that.
That, and this is not necessarily beer related, but calcium doesn't actually strengthen your bones, despite what you've
Yeah,
been taught
that's
since you were
correct.
in elementary school.
And milk actually weakens your bones.
But milk
'cause
does a body good.
It does not. The casein in the milk, the
The
animal
vegans are
product,
coming.
I was just
Dan.
gonna say
the
that.
Vegans
Come
are
on.
coming.
it actually
Did you learn that in Vegan
steals
Academy?
calcium from your bones.
No, but it's true. Like they've done studies, and your consumption of calcium does nothing to strengthen your bones or prevent bone disease.
So the government lied to us?
The government lied to us because they didn't want us to drink beer. They wanted us to drink milk.
No.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Milk is for babies. When you grow up, you have to drink beer.
I've been waiting to play that. I've been waiting to play that clip, and it finally fits.
I love how quickly you had that too.
That was not prepared at all.
Oh man, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger. saying
Everyone's
milk
going to
is
think
for
you
babies.
edited these bits together.
No.
You're like, hold on,
I
I'm
know.
stopping it. I need to find this.
find this button. I have this awesome clip.
And the Oscar goes to the Beer Busters podcast for putting up with my crap.
Do they give Oscars for podcasts?
They do now. The potties.
We get a Peabody.
The
I think.
potties.
Wow. We were talking about that earlier, huh?
Yeah, we were.
No one else is going to get that.
No. Inside jokes are awesome.
Yeah, ratemypodcast.com, right?
Yes.
Right, ratemypodcast.com.
OMG.
I like the way this is already going.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Okay, so we covered this, and we actually tried this in the last episode, but there is yet another Game of Thrones beer coming out of Ommegang.
Of course.
Yes.
No
Which is-
surprise.
Yeah.
Numero tres.
And people are still going to yell at me for this, but I still haven't seen the show.
You need to stop admitting that.
Here's the thing. I don't want to lie to our listeners.
You
Then
can
just
watch
don't
the
tell
show.
them. Or watch the show.
Both of what you
that
said are accurate, but neither are going to happen.
Right. Well,
So
Clearly.
You could
Yeah.
read the books.
that's even less likely to happen.
come on now.
They made a book out of that show.
Oh my God! Really?
That's even more complicated than the show.
I heard something that the reason I can't catch up on that show is the only time I have to watch it is on break at work, and it's not a safe for work show. But apparently now that the show has some traction, the actors are all saying, do we really have to have all the gratuitous sex in there?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of the
Okay.
point. I mean, it's like Tolkien, but with gore and sex.
Well, yeah, but apparently they've had to tone it down compared to what the books are, and I've
Yeah.
never read the
I'm
books.
sure
I don't know
never
if
read the books
anybody
either.
have you guys read it?
I've never read, but I've heard the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Have you
So-
read a book?
Once.
Clifford goes to camp.
Curious George?
Oh, that Clifford.
Yes. But the here we go. I'm sorry. The next one is going to be called Fire and Blood Red Ale, and it's going to release in the run-up to the show's return to air in the spring of 2014. And the new beer is inspired by there's a name here. House Targaryen.
Targaryen.
Yes. Thank you. Features a series of labels, one for each of the three dragons on the show: Drogon, Regal, and Viserion. That word.
Those I don't know because I haven't watched the third season.
Okay.
Yet.
But Fire and Blood.
Spoiler alert.
I know. Right? And the thing is, like, I've avoided spoilers, and that's no easy task
It's
for that
not.
show.
He didn't even know there was a third dragon.
Yeah. No, I knew there were three dragons because they show up in the second season, but I didn't know their names.
So the Fire and Blood, it's going to follow the Iron Throne Blonde Ale, which was spring of 2013, and the Take the Black Stout, which is currently available. And if you go back to our last episode of Beer Busters, we reviewed it.
Yes,
and it was delicious.
It was good.
Yes. The first beer in the series was the Iron Throne. It flew off the retail shelves and poured through taps at an unheard of pace, leading to 2 additional brews, which we have just
They
mentioned.
actually sold out the Iron Blonde faster than they could get the glasses in.
Oh, really?
Because they
Really?
had special glasses made
You know,
for
yeah,
people
I
to
think I
buy
remember
with the
that.
beer.
Wow.
And the beer was gone, and the glasses hadn't even come back for
That's
the
Yeah.
pretty
printers
cool.
yet.
It's pretty cool because I imagine that they sold out so quickly because of the hype of it being associated with the show, but obviously it was actually a very good beer. So it's cool that it wasn't just,
I
know.
thought you were going to say it flew off the shelves because of us. Can we take credit for some of
No,
it?
that's why the second one did.
Okay,
Because we
that's
actually
true. Right.
we tasted
Right,
the second one.
right,
We didn't
that's
the
true.
first one, yeah.
That's true.
Actually, I was going to say it flew off the shelves because of dragons.
Really?
No.
Nice.
I thought Trevor was going to tell you to shut up.
Yeah.
I'm far too nice for that.
Yeah.
It's always the quiet ones.
The Fire and Blood Red Ale is going to be brewed with Pilsner, Spelt Rye, and other specialty malts, and it's hopped with I'm going to get so many of these things wrong, and I apologize. Starion, Golding, and German Tettnang hops, and spiced with Anko chilies for additional complexity. The hue is deep, dark red with a persistent, creamy off-white head, and aromas will include ripe fruit, raisins, slight spice, and malt with a slight floral, spicy hop character.
Wait. Did you say there were chilies in this beer?
believe so.
Did you
I
say
did,
ancho chilies?
and I'm going back to make sure that I did not read it wrong. Nope. Hops and spiced with ancho chilies for additional
Yes!
complexity. We were
A
just
chili
talking
beer!
about this. Steph has such a huge affinity for spicy beers.
I'm actually drinking your chili Roush beer right now.
Isn't it
I am drinking
awesome?
Very
your
good.
habanero IPA at the
Yes.
moment. And there was a third one. I don't know where it got.
I drank one earlier. I don't know what it was, but it was good. I know it was yours.
you.
Yeah, and it was spicy.
You guys are just being nice.
No, it's very good.
No, you do make.
I'm
very good beer.
excited though that I don't know if Omegang's ever done a beer with chilies in. I'm trying to think back.
I don't know.
They're pretty traditional
Yeah.
with their,
The
Belgian
Belgians.
style,
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
which wouldn't have
Wouldn't
chilies in
include
it very
chilies, yeah.
often.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one now.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get our hands on that one then. Too.
Yeah. So it'll be coming out when Game of Thrones returns in spring of 2014 for their next season. The recommended retail price is going to be $8.50 per bottle.
Which is insane. I love how affordable these beers have been.
I thought you were going to say insane in a bad way.
No,
and I
in
would
a
have been
very,
confused.
very good way. I
Yeah.
think that's great
Yeah,
when
that's
you can
not a bad
get
price at all.
a nice big bottle of craft beer for under $10, and it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So keep an eye out for that in the spring of 2014.
What's it called again? I'm sorry.
Fire and Blood. Where'd it go?
Well, there you go. Chili's, Red Ale, Fire and Blood.
Makes sense.
there's
Yeah,
there's
Fire
a
and Blood Red Ale.
theme
Yeah,
going on. And Dragons.
Dragons. Don't forget
So
the Dragons.
they've done a golden ale, they've done a dark stout, and now they're doing
doing a
red.
red.
So what's
they're
next?
filling a brown ale, perhaps.
There we go. Omegang
Something
royalties.
hoppy.
Something hoppy.
didn't
Yeah.
last time you guys were on, didn't we mention that we wanted royalties from HBO?
Oh,
If we took
yeah,
any of our
totally.
royalties? All right, so
Yeah.
it's out again. So HBO, game on.
Yeah. Has anybody the craft spirits for Boardwalk Empire Association?
Oh, that's right. I
Crossover?
forgot.
Yeah,
we
no.
Good idea.
What else?
See,
do
what
they
we
do?
should do is that new show, Masters of Sex.
There you go. Yeah. what would
Evil
the first
Genius.
one
I
be?
mean, I don't know. I mean, he
I
spends a
don't
lot
want
of
to say
time.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time at observing at a whorehouse. So I mean, there's some connection in there, I'm sure.
The voyeuristic
lots of
lager.
research.
Yep.
I don't know.
So the labels, the labels would just be asterisks and pound signs and exclamation
Exactly.
points.
And a silhouette of a naked
Greater
woman.
than or equal to 3.
Yes.
There you go. Menage a trois.
Yes. Now the last thing that I saw is actually kind of cool because the very first blog post I ever did for our site, the Dan's beer is not from here, which is going to make a triumphant comeback soon. And now that I've said it, I have to do it. There's many smaller brands that we all kind of know and love to an extent, but I saw a chart that had a few of the biggest companies that are out there that own some of these brands that you might not know are not independent. They're owned by other brands.
These are the crafty beers.
Yes. So now the list started off with InBev, who of course is Anheuser-Busch. They're responsible for Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, Shock Top. What kind of got me is I kept going. I didn't know they owned Landshark, they own Stella, they own Rolling Rock, they own Hoegaarden, and one called Ziegenbach, which I've never heard of, but I like the name.
Yeah, they own like half the beers on the planet. They're just a huge conglomerate.
Well, the thing is, as I kept going through this list, there were so many other ones that were owned by bigger ones. And here's what gets me, because the next three parent companies, if you want to call them that, to me, they seem like they're related, and I don't understand the distinction. And the article didn't have it in there, but the first one up after that is SAB Miller, which owns they own Ice House, Aguila, Crown Lager, Balboa, which makes me want to watch Rocky, Imperial, Castle Lager, Atlas, and one called Snow. Now, here's what gets me. Miller, of course, Miller, but then there's Miller Coors, which is another parent company. They are responsible for Peroni, Molson Canadian, Miller, of course, Lining Kugels, Steph, your favorite, Killian's Irish Red.
Really?
Yes. Crispin, Milwaukee's Beast, as I like to call it, OE, Old English for those of us who don't buy 40s, Mickey's, Hams, Foster's, and Keystone Ice. But then the next parent company was Molson Coors. So there's Miller Coors, and Molson Coors, which I don't understand the distinction between the three of them.
So Miller and Coors, what, not even 10 years ago?
Yeah, not even 10 years.
They didn't merge the way you would think the way companies merge. They formed this partnership where, and a lot of these big brands came underneath that. but they still have an SAB Miller and they still have a
Okay.
what's the
which
other
is
one?
a global
Oh,
partnership.
there's Miller Coors
So
and
S-
SAB.
Yeah, SAB is
Right.
South African breweries.
Oh, okay.
So they
Oh.
own so they own a lot of like international brands.
Right.
So SAB, South African breweries, and Miller have a global relationship, the same way Molson Coors has a global relationship in North America. So
Right.
even though like they operate synergistically, but they're not one
not
company
one,
like
right.
AB
Okay.
InBev is.
right.
Okay.
So
That makes sense. Thank you.
no problem.
Doesn't AB InBev have a relationship with the Spaten Group too?
That's actually a good question. I don't know. I would assume. I mean,
It's
when
not on your visual.
No, it didn't come up on there.
Well, when Origlio, who's our Philly wholesaler, bought All Star, which covers this area, I know they divested of some AB umbrella brands like Spaten, so I'm assuming there's some sort of relationship.
Yeah, there must be a connection.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
No.
Cool. Oh, there was one that the article I saw didn't have, but for InBev, they also own Boddington's, which is the first one that I did for
Oh,
the
for
Dan
your
Spears and
foreign
From
beer.
Boddington's
Yeah.
very good British cream ale.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that all these beers are going to be terrible just because they're owned by a giant company.
Yeah,
you know?
and what I came to realize when I did that is really it's more about distribution than anything. A lot of these smaller brands that are owned by these companies, they don't touch the recipe. They don't get involved in the brewing process much. They just distribute it on a wider range so they can get their profits,
Yep.
but keep it what people know and love. So if you go over to England and you have a Boddington's, it's probably going to taste the same as what you get out of your pub can here.
Well, same
Well,
thing with the.
Well,
Perhaps.
The other thing as well is that a lot of the times, this was true of Goose Island before they were actually fully purchased, they InBev had invested in them, and part of that investment meant that they then tapped into their distribution network. So that's why I'd say the Spaten thing is
Yeah.
that they may not even own them, but they may either have a stake in them, and that's why they then generally use the AB distribution network.
Right.
Same with like Red Hook and Whittemer, and like they're part of a company called the Craft Brewers Alliance,
Yep,
which
they're
is
on
a
this
publicly
list.
traded company.
Yeah.
But if you look at their regulatory filings, they have and AB InBev has like a not a controlling stake, but a large stake in the company, and part of that is they have a distribution deal where all CBA brands like Kona and Red Hook and Whittemer and stuff all go through AB distribution channels.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So again, like, and that's something that we face as a small brewery too, is that, you know, how do you align yourself properly? Because each brand family, whether it's Miller Coors or AB, they cover different territories.
Right.
So when you're trying to distribute in a state like Pennsylvania, which is so vast, you need to kind of follow a roadmap because you have to assign distribution rights by county. And sometimes one group that covers a certain county on the Miller Coors side, and you want to distribute there, you only maybe have one option because there's no AB counterpart. So like, it's really weird how it's all put together.
So if you make a distribution deal with like a large company, that's not exclusive. You can also somebody else can also distribute.
yeah, it works like a car dealership. So like your
Okay.
local Honda dealer, right? Like isn't owned by Honda. He's
Right.
owned by a guy or a group that has the rights to sell Hondas in a certain area.
Right.
That's the exact same way the beer business works.
Okay.
So you don't, all these wholesalers are independent of Miller Coors, AB,
Right.
but they have the exclusive brand rights to sell Miller Coors, AB, Evil Genius
Right.
in a certain area, and that's kind of how it works.
Okay, right. So
It's covered under franchise law.
right, and it's tied to geography. It's that
yeah.
certain area.
Yeah,
It's all
there's
done
no-
by counties here.
Right.
So, for instance, we can, if you want to buy Evil Genius as a bar or retailer, you have to buy from our wholesaler. You can't buy from another wholesaler somewhere else.
Oh, okay, okay.
The business of beer.
yeah, anyway.
Business is
And just to kind of get through this list a little bit, and then this news segment will be done. Molson Coors, they're responsible for Blue Moon, Grolsch, Zima, which I haven't heard of in a while.
Wow, Zima.
Yeah. Every time I think of Zima, there's a Simpsons quote that comes to mind. They're at a restaurant eating dinner, and either Patty or Selma lights up a cigarette, and a guy next to him goes, "Excuse me, I ordered Zima, not emphysema."
I remember that.
Yeah. Sorry, everything goes to the Simpsons with me.
Yeah.
They also are responsible for Cobra and one called Rickards. Pabst, as we learned in a previous episode with a game that we did, they're responsible for a lot of the classic brands that are out there. They, of course, have Pabst Blue Ribbon. They're responsible for National Bohemian or Natty Bo, Schaefer, Lone Star, Pearl, Old Milwaukee, Colt 45, Schlitz, and Rheingold.
Pearl.
Yep.
It's not a girl. It's a beer.
Pearl's
Pearl's not
not a
a-
girl, it's a beer.
It's a beer. That was a legit advertising campaign that they did.
That's
Episode 10. Go back.
Yes, the live barbecue extravaganza.
Yes.
There's one called Diageo. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Diageo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They are responsible for...
It's European.
Dan, you're so Berks Countyan.
Really?
You can live in Philly, but you still have the
come
Berks
on.
County in you.
I work so hard to get rid of any dialects and everything, and then it's just like, oh, hey, you're
It's
from...
okay. It's okay.
All right. But they are responsible for Guinness, Harp, Kilkenny, Red Stripe, and Smithwick's. Heineken, responsible for, of course, Heineken. Also Newcastle, Murphy's, Dos Equis with the most interesting man in the world, Kingfisher, Furstenberg, and then there's the Craft Brew Alliance, which we mentioned earlier, Kona, Red Hook, the Widmer Brothers, and Omission, who specializes in a few gluten-free beers that I have tried last week.
Whose IPA is good.
I didn't have the IPA.
It's good.
I had the lager and I had something else, but I liked them.
Fair play to him. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person that tried them with me can't have any gluten, so she's only really used to ciders, so she didn't really like the beer aspect of it. But as far as I didn't taste much of a difference between traditional beer and then gluten-free beer. It was pretty good. And then the last one that they had here was Duvel. I'm sorry. I'm just going to throw these out there. Thank you. Who are responsible for De Koning, Bernard Boulevard, which is another one that's out there, and Ommegang, to bring things moderately full circle.
Well, that's how Ommegang got their start. That was the deal.
Yep.
Cool.
And they have an amazingly beautiful brewery, and they are producing some great beers, so good for them.
And they've got an awesome deal with HBO.
And when it comes down to it, good beer is good beer, period.
That's true.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter where it comes from or where the money behind it to make it and distribute it comes from. I mean, it's, if
Unless
people care
children
about
are
making
being
good beer.
murdered or something.
Well, okay, yes, obviously.
Why would you go there?
Short
I'm
of
just saying,
of outsourcing your bottling to sweatshops in
brewery's
southern
doing
China.
that?
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, really.
Sometimes,
I would
you know.
kill everyone in this room for a drop of sweet beer.
I'm just glad I got to play 2 clips off of this.
Indeed.
But anyway, good story, Stan.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks. So, okay, now that I'm done reading things that I probably should have read before we started recording. So we mentioned earlier, and we were having a very good discussion with you guys, but the guys from Evil Genius are back, and we're so excited to have you here. And like Wayne pointed out, it's kind of cool that we're on 7 and 14 and hopefully 21.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you for coming back, guys. This is awesome.
Nah, thanks for having us. It's cool.
Now, we were even talking a little bit before we started recording. We don't really know what to talk about with you guys. So
we've all been introduced. We all know.
Yeah. Our listeners kind of know you guys. I'm hoping they will have tried your beers by now. If not, you really need to do that. But I know one thing we didn't really cover last time you were on was it's not just the 2 of you guys that are Evil Genius, right? There's 2 more?
One more.
One more. I'm sorry, one more. So who is the other guy, the other Evil Genius, if you will?
That's our brewer and third partner, Mark Bromwich. And actually, a really cool thing is that Mark works at a brew pub right now up in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Based on the contract model that we do, because someone else is physically brewing the beer up in Connecticut, it means that he really wouldn't have as much to do as Luke and I do because we do more of the sales and marketing and stuff. So he needed to keep a job to survive and support his family. But he works at this brew pub, and one of the beers that he makes is a peanut butter brown ale. Ooh. And he just won a bronze medal at the GABF for it, which is
awesome.
pretty
That's
impressive.
so cool.
Yeah. So he was really, really happy because I think it was last year he got through to the medal round, because after the whole festival and the awards are over, a few weeks later, we haven't gotten them yet, they actually send out tasting notes on the different beers that you've submitted. Mm-hmm. So you can actually see whether you actually got very far or not. Some of these categories are really big. I think it was how many were in the IPA?
260 some beers in the American IPA category.
And then there were categories that were like 60 or 20,
Right.
It was
right.
So obviously you have a better chance in those smaller ones, but so in those really big ones, they tend to just look very quickly to try and find any sort of flaw to weed out, because they're trying to get down to those last 15 or even less to figure out who's getting a medal. But so he found out last year that he'd gotten through to the medal round, so submitted again, and he came with a bronze, which is really, really awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, I know when we talked before, you 2 met in college.
Yes.
Before you started the business. Now, did he go to? Was he in college with you guys?
No. We actually met him just kind of through our network. He was working at another place, and we just kind of linked up. And he was looking for the same thing and kind of had a similar idea for what he wanted to do. So that's how we kind of, we didn't go to brewing school, and he had all this great experience. So we were like, well, this kind of fills a knowledge gap for us. And we were like, oh, we get along. Like, he was a nice guy, smart. So it just kind of worked out from that standpoint.
Cool.
So.
Now that beer that he did, is that something you guys are gonna pick up with Evil Genius, or
We're not going to do that specific beer, but we are going to do a peanut butter beer, peanut butter and chocolate. That we speak of the Simpsons that we'd like to call Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
yes.
So we're working on that right now, and
right.
so
Trademark.
Not sure when.
Trademark, yeah.
Trademark pending.
Trademark.
Patent pending.
They we're working on that right now. We haven't kind of figured out exactly when it'll come out next year, but we'll probably start it off on draft, see how it goes, and then because we've seen a couple different other peanut butter beers, and they've been really popular, and not to just be jumping on a bandwagon, but we think we can do a pretty stellar one, given that we've done 2 different chocolate beers this year that have both been very, very well received. You tried one of them already.
Yes, the Trick or Treat. Oh my God, they're
Yep.
so good.
I know.
And then there's the Pure Evil, which is a chocolate stout as opposed to a porter. And it doesn't obviously have any of the spices from the pumpkin beer or pumpkin in it either. So it's obviously more on the chocolate side of things. And I was actually just pouring that on Saturday at Brewphoria, and of the 3 beers I had, it was the one that was gone fast. Like, I had people coming from the other end of the building saying, "I hear you have a chocolate beer." So
cool.
Which is really awesome that, it's funny how these things fly around. Even though we also had the Trick or Treat at the GABF on the tasting floor, and we had people walking from the other end of the building to come try it because someone had told them, and that's probably about a 5-minute walk.
Wow.
Because it's a really, really big venue.
Right.
Yeah, it's like 300,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Like it's really huge.
And I saw a few things from there, and Steph, you showed me Conan did a segment from there. I guess it would have been Triumph, the Insult Comic Con.
Yeah,
Yeah, I never got to watch that. I heard
It
that was
was-
really funny.
It's
It was
hilarious.
funny. I tried looking in the background to see if I could see Evil Genius. You guys were
Yeah.
updating your
Yeah,
Facebook and
funny.
everything. Now, for anybody who's not familiar with that, the GABF is in it was Denver, right?
Yep.
In Denver
Okay.
every year, yeah. It's the Great American Beer Festival.
Yeah.
And I think it's 4 different sessions between Thursday evening and Saturday evening, and they do, I think, in actual people coming in as like patrons, I think it's close to 60,000 people.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's 15,000 per session. So yeah,
Wow.
And it's sold. The tickets sold out this year in like record time. It was
Yeah.
like 10-15 minutes. I mean, something insane.
No, it was unbelievable.
I think it was like an hour the previous year, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like next year.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
And
Are you
even
guys-
they only let so many breweries in as well.
Yeah,
we were
So I
lucky
know
that
there was a fight
I had-
for those spots.
I had it in my calendar to go online and do it, and I just did it and got it over with. Just I wasn't even thinking that it was going to sell out. I just said, I'll just get this done, then I don't have to worry that I've forgotten to do it. And then I remember reading like a couple hours later all these different breweries that didn't get in, including like Weyerbacher originally didn't get in.
Yeah.
Like they've won medals there before. So next year I think they're actually changing the rules a little bit. Because it's not really fair that, because there was a lot of breweries there that have maybe never been there before, and other breweries that have been going for maybe as long as it's been going on, which is
Right.
20 something years now, that it's not fair to block someone out because of that. I think you got to earn your spot at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys get a chance to actually walk around the festival and sample
Yeah.
yourselves?
Yeah, we did. We because they have volunteers that help pour for you, which is great. And we spend time at the table, talking to people ourselves. But part of the thing is, I want to go and see what other people are doing. So we got a chance to walk around and really check out a bunch of really, really awesome beers, and especially after the awards ceremony. Which is on the Saturday morning. You can go around on the Saturday morning session, and they have a special designation if you're a brewery who won an award, so you actually get to try all the beers that won medals during the Saturday session, which was really cool. So we got to sample all of those beers, as well as some other really good ones that we enjoyed personally that didn't win medals. I mean, there's just so many interesting beers and so many cool things that people are doing, especially a lot of like the West Coast breweries are really taking like barrel aging to the next level.
Yeah.
Like one of our friends was a judge who runs a brewery, was a judge in the barrel aging round, and he said that there wasn't one beer that was submitted under the bourbon barrel age category that didn't receive a perfect score.
Wow.
Jeez.
So it just goes to show you like what people are actually doing, and like the fact that people really care about the beer and the level that they're pushing craft beer, especially barrel aged beer, is really impressive. So there was a lot of good beer out there.
Is there a favorite that you had out there?
Yeah, we had this. We went to New Belgium on their industry day.
Yeah, they didn't even have
And
that at the festival.
they
But
didn't even have
this
it.
was unbelievable.
They had a hoppy sour.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
interesting.
Steph would love that.
It was
Everything that I wanted in a beer and didn't know I hadn't had yet.
yeah, it was incredible. It was
It's called La Terror.
There you go, Steph.
I need to
Gotta
get
look for
this
it.
beer.
It was incredible. It was one of the best beers we ever. And that
In fact, we didn't even have it at the brewery. 'cause
No, we
We
didn't.
went to the brewery and it was industry day, which meant that they had just stations of beer where usually they would like, I'm sure you're either paying for it or whatnot. And they're like, yeah, you can just go behind and pour for yourself.
Yes, we got a guided. So they had free food, and we had a guided tour of New Belgium by like their director of HR or whatever. And every stage in the tour, they had a rolling bar with like 10 taps, and just serve yourself.
Jeez.
And we took tours of the whole brewery. Went to their barrel room, which was the coolest thing. They had like, I forget how many barrels they had, but they said that they had the second largest barrel room on the planet behind Rotenbach.
Wow.
And it was just like, it was total beer porn. Like it was,
It really, really was.
it was really cool. So and
And they're expanding that as well. Like what we saw there is only about, I think it's about a third of what it will be. But we went to another really small brewery called Black Bars.
Black Bottle.
Black Bottle, and we tried some of their beers. We got a flight, and then we saw they had a New Belgium we hadn't tried, which, given having been at the brewery trying all these beers, we're like, that's crazy. So we tried it, and it was hands down the best beer I had out there.
Wow.
I'd forgotten about that, actually.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about the explosion of barrel aging, and I imagine that's got to be a boon for distilleries too, because a lot of times they're buying these used barrels. You know, I mean, they have to be buying used barrels from distilleries.
Yeah, they buy because we Trevor's from Dublin, obviously, so we went when we went.
I mean, look at him; it's obvious.
But nice. But like when we went
The ghost.
but when we went over to Ireland over the winter, we went to the Jameson distillery, and they actually walked through like how they. So basically, whiskey makers use old Spanish port barrels, and that's what they use to distill whiskey. And then once those barrels are done, go through so many uses or whatever, either breweries buy them or then they become rum barrels.
Right. So they just keep going.
Yeah, they just keep cycling through.
Wow.
And so, like,
I guess the brewery is the last place it's going to be,
It's
right?
got
It's
once
got
you
no
get-
other
I
use
mean,
of it after
Because
that.
after that, it's really. I mean, what are you going to do when it's had beer in it? I don't think it's gonna.
no.
It might be interesting if it's a good barrel-aged beer to then put whiskey in it. I wonder what that would do.
That would be that would be interesting. I smell an experiment.
I was going to say, I smell an experiment.
Yeah.
But I'd say up until 10, 15 years ago, there was probably a lot of waste with barrels because there wasn't all these breweries doing this.
Right,
So,
yeah.
or at the very least, the price of them has gone up. I'm sure
Oh, I'm
substantially
sure
because
it's
more people want
skyrocketed.
them. So,
Yeah.
which is great.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for coming back. Now
problem.
it's just getting started. We've got so much on tap yet. Next up, though, Wayne, what do you have planned for today?
Oh well, let me check my notes. It's 32.8% happy, 47.2% fun, 17.3% fermentertainment, and 12.7% beerducation. Sodium benzoate added to preserve freshness. It's time to come on, get happy, and go play, have fun. That's right, it's time for another Happy Fun Time game. We're going to return today to one of my favorite games, a game we've played previously in which I deviously attempt deception and test my comrade's perception of some dubious contentions. With ravenous tenacity, they'll judge my veracity, a continuation of the beerducation of the Beer Buster Nation. It's time to play libation or fabrication. And in case you need to recap, this is how this game works. Anybody who's delved into the world of craft beer will know that there are some strange, humorous, and outright absurd beer names out there. And I've scoured the interwebs to find some of the oddest and invented a few myself. Your mission will be to tell the difference. Dan, Steph, and our guests Luke and Trevor will go head to head as I list the name of myriad brews, and they try to determine which are real libations and which are my own fabrications. So we're gonna, of course, as always, alternate who goes first, and we'll start with Dan to my left.
You know what? For a game in the future, you should really go the other way first.
I would just thought of that just now, but
I'm just tired of going first because I'm going to make an ass of myself.
this train's already moving, buddy.
It's going to mess up his table.
Sorry.
It's got, look, I have shaded boxes and everything.
All right,
okay? Like,
all right.
come on, this is serious business.
It is.
And this also makes it easier for me. So
That's true, yeah. If nothing else comes of this, that's what we aim for.
So we're going to start with you, and you need to tell me if this beer is real or fake, and the first beer is called Imaginary Lager.
I'm going to go real.
Right, Dan's saying real. Steph, what do you think? Imaginary Lager.
I'll say fake.
You'll say fake. All right, Luke's up next. What do you say?
Senator, I'll say fake.
Senator. Senator concurs.
I'll go real.
You'll go real. Oh, and Steph and Luke are correct. It is in fact fake because it says so right in the name. Imaginary lager.
Well, you know.
I mean, seriously. I couldn't have made that any easier.
Dragons.
And Dan's going to go. Or yeah, I'm sorry. Dan already
Oh,
went.
you're just going to start with me again because I said something.
Steph's going to go first on this one. And the name of this beer, tell me, is it real or fake? Scary Jesus Rockstar. Scary Jesus Rockstar. Is that a real beer or is that fake?
It is real.
That is real. Luke, what do you say?
I say it's real.
You say it's real as well. Trevor?
I'm gonna go real.
Trevor's going to go real. Dan?
I'm going to go real, and I really hope the label is Jesus riding a T-Rex.
Well, you are all correct. It is real. However, I have no idea what's on the label.
Okay.
I'm sure I saw it when I was looking it up, but I don't remember, so it probably wasn't that interesting. Yes.
What kind of beer is Scary Jesus
Scary
Rockstar?
Jesus Rockstar is a one-time brewed American Pale Ale, 6.5% by Dark Horse Brewing Company out of Marshall, Michigan.
Oh, cool.
It's a pale ale brewed with plentiful amounts of apricots and chamomile. It was a collaboration beer with Chef Cletus Friedman of City Provisions. I don't know what any of that means, but apparently he's a chef.
Slack-jawed yokel.
And a slack-jawed yokel. Collaboration of a chef, a brewer, and a slack-jawed yokel.
That'd be a cool beer named Slack-Jawed Yokel.
That would be a good beer.
There you go.
I'm writing that
Next
down.
on the list,
Trademark.
Slack-jawed.
Slack-jawed yokel.
Is that what we're just going to do? If we want to trademark, we'll just shout trademark,
Trademark.
and it's recorded
That's-
and it's published?
that's not how it
Binding.
works.
Oh.
It's like dibs, right?
Yeah, I know. Shotgun, dibs.
Shotgun.
By the way,
No yoinks.
Scary Jesus Rockstar gets 3.7 bottle caps on Untapped.
There you go. 3.7 bottle caps. All right, moving right along. Luke's up to bat first on this one. Oh, Dan, you're going to like this one. This one's called Groundskeeper Spilly. Oh, that's awesome. Groundskeeper Spilly. Is that real, or did I just make it up because my brother's obsessed with The Simpsons?
I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real. What do you think, Trevor?
I'm gonna go real.
You're going to go real. Dan, what do you think?
I want it to be real, but I have a feeling Fox would really have a conniption, so I'm going to go fake.
You're going to go fake because you don't think Fox is generous. Steph?
I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real. Well, Dan, your cynicism does not pay off this time because
Good.
that is, in fact, a real beer.
I'm glad I was wrong.
Groundskeeper Spilly is a 7.2% Scotch ale, appropriately.
That's awesome.
Brewed by Six Point Brewery in Brooklyn, New York. This is from their commercial description. The Spilly emerges with a plum and spice palate, rounded out with a kiss of caramel. Subtle peat smoke coupled with pepper hop leads way to a palate-cleansing raspberry sorbet.
Raspberry sorbet.
Raspberry sorbet. I feel like Steph reading that. You know, because she always
Are
reads
you
the beer
making fun of me?
No. When I read this and when I read it when I was writing it, I was like hearing you saying it because you always do the descriptions when we do the tasting.
I try to make them interesting.
Yeah. So I was going to try and imitate
Hey,
you.
I'm not doing any tasting notes today.
That's true.
It's all on
That's
these
That's
guys.
true. It's all on these
I
guys.
have one paper in front
So
of
we
me.
don't know if the eloquence is going to go up or down.
I'm going to guess
Down.
It's going to go down. All right, it's going to go down. All right,
This one's beer.
This next one is also beer.
Ooh, I like beer over beer.
All right, Trevor, you're up to bat. Tell me if this is beer for reals. This beer, maybe, is called Meat Whistle Imperial Stout.
Wow.
Real? Dan, what do you say? Is that real or fake?
I'm going to go real.
You're real? All right, Steph, what do you say? Meat
Fake.
Whistle is fake. Luke, what do you think?
It's real.
It's real. It's real. Of course it's real. Of course it's as
Can
real.
you guess who
I
it's
didn't-
from?
I didn't
You
want
won't guess
it.
who this
You
is
won't
from.
guess
I
who.
You know
didn't
this
want
beer.
it
You
to
will
be
not guess who this is from. I agree. Guess.
I will not.
What brewery is it? Meat Whistle.
I don't know.
Take a guess.
I don't
You've
want
heard
to
of
know. Dogfish Head.
it. No, but good guess. Meat Whistle Imperial Stout is brewed by Magic Hat Brewing Company.
Wow.
Oh.
South Burlington, Vermont.
Wouldn't expect that, man.
No.
Would you?
Yes,
That's something you guys
yes.
expect from Evil Genius.
So wait a minute.
Yeah, that is true. That is
This-
true.
So instead of Magic Hat number 9, is this Magic Hat number 69?
This.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Very
Just
nice.
keep going. Just stop. Yeah, this is more of a boozy American double than an Imperial Stout. It's 11.2% and aged in Heaven Hill bourbon barrels. Speaking of barrel-aged beers. It was a one-off brew they did a few years back, but they recently brewed it again this year. So you can put your lips on the Meat Whistle as we speak.
I'm just surprised because in a big company like they are now, to get like a name from there to it
It's
actually
to
been
go
called that,
through a lot of channels.
a lot of channels, and,
And
no one thought
checks
that
and
this
balances.
was like
Yeah.
not a good idea. And
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think it's hilarious,
It is
and that's
funny.
the type of thing we might do.
Yeah.
but
But for
It's
a
just
big
Trevor and I making that decision.
Exactly.
It's like,
For
dude,
a
that'd be
bigger-
hilarious.
with
if
a
we call it
marketing
Meat Whistle.
department
Yeah.
and a legal team and all that stuff. Yeah.
Maybe it's because the beer will wet your whistle, and you can whistle when you're hungry for some meat. No? Okay, I tried. That's
I mean,
probably
maybe that's
I'm
how
hungry,
they
but not
pitched
for
it too.
food.
And
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
We always joke about doing, obscure sexual references as beer names.
right.
But that one is like, there's no.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no subtlety about that.
Yeah.
None at all.
It's like skin flute pale ale.
It's you know what though? A beer even less subtle than Meat Whistle we had the last time we played this game.
Oh, God.
By Speakeasy Ales and Lagers in California. It is called Fisted Anus. That is a real beer that you can buy and drink.
No way.
Yes.
That is a very real beer. Now they're not as big a company as Magic Hat, so they probably didn't have to get it past
Fisted anus.
the marketing department.
That's all.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move along here. This next name is less offensive, and Dan's gonna guess first on this one. Is this a real beer or is it a fake beer? And this is Peter Piper's Pickled Pepper Pale Ale.
Oh,
Is that
man.
real or fake?
Law of averages, fake.
Fake. All right. P-P-P-P-P-A. Is that a real beer or is that fake?
Fake.
Fake. Luke, what do you think?
I'm gonna say real.
He's going to say real.
Yeah, I feel like I might have heard of that, so
Like
I'm
you
going
might
to
have
go
heard
real.
that? All right. Well, if you've heard of that, then you're in my head because that is fake.
Oh.
That does not really exist.
I am in your head.
Oh. I was afraid you were going to say that. Yes, Peter Piper's Pickled Pepper Pale Ale does not exist. However, it contains alliteration and peppers, presumably of the pickled persuasion. It should be real, and I think Steph should brew it.
There we go.
Done.
That's
All
a
right.
cool name.
That is a cool name. I thought so. Thank you.
Trademark.
Yep, there it is.
I was waiting for it.
Patent pending. Okay, moving right along. Steph is up first on this one, and this beer is entitled Marketing Ploy.
I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real, Luke.
I'm say real.
Real? Trevor, what do you
Go
think?
real.
Real as well. Dan, what do you think? Marketing
It's too
ploy?
much to the point for it not to be real. I'm going real.
Real, then no bones about it. Yes, you are all correct. That is real. Marketing Ploy is made by Three Floyds Brewing Company in Munster, Indiana. I'm pretty sure, it was retired. It's no longer brewed. It came about way back in 2000. It's a 6% American Pale Ale. It was actually a collaboration between Peace Brewery and Three Floyds. It was brewed for the 2000 World Cup to drum up interest in their respective outfits, hence the name. It was, in fact, a marketing ploy. Whether or not it was a decent beer, I'm not sure. I don't remember if the reviews were good or not.
I got to ask this one for Dad. Which of the Floyds is pink?
Which of the Floyds is pink?
Sorry, Dad will yell at me if I don't ask that.
The one whom's comfortably numb.
Yes.
And moving right along, who's up next on this one? Luke's up next on this one, and this beer is called Cat's Piss. Cat's Piss.
Oh.
Spelled Katzpis.
I'm gonna say real.
You're gonna say real?
Because of Simcoe, I'm going to say real.
You're gonna say real? What do you say, Dan?
I'm going to go fake.
You're gonna go fake, Steph.
I'm going to say real.
You're gonna say real, and you are all correct, and you are absolutely right, Trevor.
Except Dan.
All right, I was
Tim,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dan, you were wrong. You were so wrong I forgot you existed. That's how wrong you were.
That's great.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Cat's Piss is a real beer. It is made by Evil Twin Brewing, which has location in Brooklyn and Denmark, I believe.
Yep.
It's a 6.5% American IPA that is, in fact, does not contain Simcoe. I don't believe.
Really?
It may. It's dry hopped with Nelson Sauvin. But yeah, apparently Simcoe hops smell like cat piss. This
They
is
do. To
some
news to
people,
me.
yep.
Actually, I had never heard this before until I looked up this beer.
It's
Actually,
like some people are very. That's something they pick up on. It's like taste buds that they get.
they
that particular
get that other
flavor
people
from.
don't. Like
I
some
don't.
people can smell. Was it cyanide or something? Like certain people could smell it and other people can't.
I can smell saline.
You can smell saline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can smell saline. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. But yeah, and apparently this is a thing. Yeah, a lot of people do say that Simcoe smells like cat's piss. Bell's actually has a beer called Hop Slam, which is 6 hop varieties in the boil, but is dry hopped with Simcoe. And their director of operations, John Mallett, says of the beer, "It smells like your cat ate your weed and then pissed in the Christmas tree."
But it's an awesome beer.
I've never had it. I would
good.
have to try it
Hop
for that.
Slam is so good.
But yeah, the whole cat's piss thing. It's interesting because things like Parmesan cheese smells like vomit. Like it doesn't just smell, like it literally contains the same amino acids that give vomit and like foot sweat that smell. And yet you give somebody Parmesan cheese, and they say, oh, that smells nice, it makes me want Italian food or whatever. But if you give somebody Parmesan cheese in a brown paper bag and write vomit on it, and they smell it, they're going to be like, oh, it smells like vomit. So
Yum.
interesting how different, flavors and tastes and things. Okay, and the next one is our last beer, and Trevor is first on this one, and this beer is called Unicorn Killer. Unicorn Killer. Is that a beer, or is that a poison to get rid of pesky unicorns?
I'm going to go fake.
You're going to go fake. Dan, what do you think? Unicorn Killer.
I feel like I've seen it before. I'm going real.
You're going real. Okay. Steph, what do you think?
I'm also going to say real.
You're also going to say real. Luke?
I'm going to say fake.
You're going to say fake for the gold. It is real. Dan and Steph are correct. Excuse me. Unicorn Killer is brewed by Greenbush Brewing Company in Sawyer, Michigan. Yeah, it's a 7.4% pumpkin ale. Actually, it's a pumpkin ale, Unicorn Killer. We previously had in this game a beer called Blood of the Unicorn, so I'm not sure what it is that these craft breweries have against unicorns, but apparently something. So Unicorn Killer is real, and that is the last beer on the list, and I'm going to add up the points real quick. Let's see. This is really riveting radio, let me tell you. All right. Let me just
23, 14, 12, 5, 7,
42.
3, 4, 5, 6.
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
25 or 64.
25 or 64.
25 or something like that one. And our winner is, and I am shocked.
Oh, no.
And amazed.
Oh, no.
that our winner today is our very own brewologist, Steph Hefner, with 7
It's
points.
my first legitimate win.
It's the first time she's ever actually won a game.
Very nice.
This is a
on
moment.
my own. On my own.
On your own, yes.
I have tied for first.
You have tied for first, yes. This is true. This is true. So this is
a
a
big
big moment in
moment.
history. Yes, Steph had 7 points. Luke was next in line with 6. Trevor and Dan tied in last place with 5. So 5, 6, and 7, all pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty close. Everybody generally performs, about average.
I never hear that.
That's the best comment he's had all week.
He said I was average.
Yes!
I can't believe it. My future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
Oh, come on.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. There is a chance. All right, and in the interest of fairness, I'll give a quick shout-out to the breweries that made the real beers. Meat Whistle Imperial Stout by Magic Hat Brewing Company. You can find them at magichat.net. Cat's Piss, if you want to smell and taste cat's piss, although I'm sure it actually tastes a lot better than cat's piss.
I would hope so.
Evil Twin Brewing, you can get eviltwin.dk because it's European. Groundskeeper Spilly by 6 Point Breweries at 6point.com. Unicorn Killer was by Greenbush Brewing Company, and they are at greenbushbrewing.com. Scary Jesus Rockstar by Dark Horse Brewing Company is at darkhorsebrewery.com. And Marketing Ploy by 3 Floyds Brewing Company. You can find 3 Floyds at 3Floyds.com. And that'll do it for our game. Now, before we move along, we do have one thing we want to do, something we haven't done in a little while. We are going to have a listener contest.
I feel like we need exciting music right now.
Oh,
We do. We need some exciting music.
It's exciting.
It works.
Funky, fresh. All right. We have a very special prize for you guys. Luke and Trevor were kind enough to bring along a T-shirt and a pint glass, an Evil Genius T-shirt and pint glass. Now, the T-shirt, is that the love thing, like what you have on?
Yep.
Okay, so it's the love. What do you call that?
Like
the love statue.
Yeah,
thingy.
sure, that.
But the E is the Evil Genius logo. It's
And then it has the our logo on the
It's
back.
pretty awesome. Oh, and it's got the
cool.
standard logo on the back. So yeah, awesome T-shirt and a pint glass. 2 very important, useful things that you can win. And this is how you can win them. You can send us an email at info@beerbusterspodcast.com and tell us the oddest, strangest, weirdest, most obscure beer name that you can find. One that none of us have heard of. If you can stump us and tell us the name of a beer that is really odd and strange and funny or disgusting and gross and repulsive or whatever that we have never heard of, you could win this awesome Evil Genius T-shirt and pint glass. So send that to info@beerbusterspodcast.com. the strangest, oddest beer name you can think of or find that you don't think we've ever heard of. And while we're on the subject of t-shirts, don't forget that you can now buy Beer Busters podcast t-shirts as well on the interweb. Steph is wearing one right now. You can also buy hats, you can buy stickers, you can buy buttons, you can buy bumper stickers and all kinds of stuff, and more stuff coming your way. Just go to beerbusterspodcast.com and click shop up in the top right corner. You can get there and buy things and give us money so we can buy things and make more shows. So that's all I got to say about that. Don't forget to enter the contest, and until next time.
All right, so now that we have that out of the way,
Your beers. No. Know your beers.
all right, so Steph, what do we got on tap?
This episode, I'm going to talk to you about Christmas beers. Yes, I know it's only November, but we were talking about pumpkin beers back in August. And our friends at Evil Genius, I may have seen a bottle of Christmas beer slipped in that bag over there, so I'm very excited about that. So Christmas beers are typically a stronger, darker, spiced beer that is often has a rich body and warming finish, created a good accompaniment for the cold weather season. And I think it's finally starting to get a little chilly here in the northwest corner of our country. The
Northwest?
aroma, northeast,
All right,
northeast.
Where do you live?
I'm not sure. There's always at least one mistake I make when I'm trying to read my notes, so at least I got it out of the way.
At least one.
At least one. The aroma of a Christmas beer, while a wide range, of course, is possible, are mainly reminiscent of cookies, gingerbread, spruce trees, or mulling spices. Pretty much anything goes as long as it suggests the holiday season. The base beer is often malty, supporting the spices and other special ingredients. And special fermentables like honey, molasses, or maple syrup will end their own unique aromatics. Hop aroma is often subdued or slightly spicy, unless, of course, you're drinking a Sierra Nevada Celebration. Some fruity character, like dried citrus peel or dried fruit, like raisins or plums, are also possible. The appearance, while it can be across the board, is generally medium amber to very dark brown for a typical Christmas ale. Flavor, again, many interpretations are possible, and this is where brewers will show their creativity. Spices associated with the holiday season are typical. Rich malty and or sweet malt-based flavors are common and may include caramel, toast, nutty, or chocolate flavors. Some include dried fruit or dried fruit peel, like plums, figs, orange peel, etc., and a light spruce or other evergreen tree
What about
character
peppermint?
is
there
found.
Any? I'm not a
I
fan
was
of
wondering-
peppermint.
Yeah, I was
Is
wondering
anyone
the
aware
same
of any
thing.
beers that has a peppermint?
I know.
Sounds
I know.
good.
I think was it Springhouse have a peppermint beer coming
Oh,
out?
yes, they have the mint chocolate stout.
Yeah.
That's sorry,
Ooh.
mint. Yes.
Mint
Oh,
chocolate.
okay. Yeah, I'm not a
Yes.
fan of peppermint, but that could be interesting.
Yeah. in
I think with a
small
stout, it
amounts.
could, I've never tasted, but I could see those two going together pretty well.
Yeah.
Even with a hoppy beer, because some hops have minty characters.
That is true, yeah.
Certain,
Yeah.
certain
So it
hop
could work.
flavors could work with that. Yeah, that's true.
The mouthfeel, the body is generally medium to full, and a certain malty chewiness is often present. Chewiness with moderately low to moderately high carbonation. You know, again, we're talking across the board. But the beers don't have to be overly strong to still show some warming effects for the cold weather. So some history for you. Throughout history, beer of a somewhat higher alcohol content and richness has been enjoyed during the winter holidays when old friends come to gather together to enjoy the season. And many breweries produce unique seasonal offerings that can be darker, stronger, spiced, or otherwise more characterful than their normal beers. Spice versions are an American or Belgian tradition, since English or German breweries traditionally do not use spices in their beer. So some commercial examples: Anchor's Our Special Ale, Harpoon's Winter Warmer, Weyerbacher's Winter Ale, Goose Island's Christmas Ale, North Coast Wintertime Ale, Great Lakes Christmas Ale, and Samuel Adams Winter Lager.
Also, Santa's butt.
Yes, sure.
That's
So-
the name of a beer.
One of those, Anchor Brewing, does something that I think is quite exciting about their Christmas beer every year. Every year since 1975, the brewers have brewed a distinctive and very unique Christmas ale. The recipe is different every year, as is the tree that's on the label. But the intent with which they offer it is the same. Of course, joy and celebration and the newness of life. The tree for 2013 is the California White Fir. They just released this recently, and it was
The tree or the beer?
the label of the tree.
Oh, okay.
It was
Tree escaped.
it was drawn by local artist.
Rampaging the countryside.
local artist James Stint, who has been creating these Christmas ale labels for them since 1975. And each year, their Christmas ale gets a unique label and a unique recipe. And this one looks like it's nice and dark. And I saw the picture of it, so I'm very excited to try this year's recipe. I was in love with last year's recipe, so I'm sure this year's will be awesome as well.
Christmas beer is not really a specific sort of. I mean, it's even less specific than pumpkin beers in the fall. It's just kind of a.
Yeah, I think it used to be more the same, but especially with the last couple years with the craft beer boom,
right?
And everybody tries to be creative and different. I think you're seeing
anything that's specially made for the holiday season. That's kind of meant to evoke.
Yeah, and they were always more spicy and malty and darker, but again, everybody loves hops, so you're starting to see some Christmas or winter ales that are starting to show some more hop character.
Right.
So there you go, Christmas beers.
Cool.
Nice.
So now that we've learned a little bit.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Sorry, I really like playing that clip. And by the way, that Beer Me is one of the things that's on one of the shirts in the swag shop.
The latest design in the swag shop.
Yes. Go buy something.
A Beer Me shirt.
Trademark.
Yes, trademark.
Copyright.
Other things you should buy include Evil Genius beer.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I had to do that.
Oh, thanks.
Hey.
Speaking
awesome
of.
segue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see?
very nice.
Speaking of which, gentlemen, I understand you guys were kind enough to bring us some brews today.
We do. We have a whole bunch of different stuff for you. We have.
That's fine
We
with
have
us.
6 different beers.
Yeah, we have 6 beers tonight. Wow. We have our IPA that we just reformulated a little bit, added some new Amarillo that we just got, so we wanted to bring that to you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to try that last time. We also.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I don't think we had actually started bottling from the new place yet.
No, you had.
We were brewing from there, but because that was August time we were here the last time.
Around there, yeah.
Something like that.
You guys had the Siren.
Yeah, we had
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Siren. We had
Yeah.
some
The
of the spring
formidable.
and summer beers, but we've got some IPA. We have both of our winter seasonals that are in our variety case. We have a Simcoe and Zythos hopped amber ale. We have our Pure Evil chocolate stout. We have our winter warmer called Naughty or Nice. And we might have even brought a couple surprise beers for you guys, too.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Surprises.
I'm excited. I am so excited to try these Christmas beers.
Yes.
The IPA, is that the Evil IPA?
Yeah, it's the Evil Eye.
I got a bottle of that at Total Wine before. It was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you guys had talked about that beer last time you were on.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I have not tried it.
I can just start right here.
Sure, yeah.
And then just pass them around here. So this is
that
our
works.
That's a good
American
idea.
style IPA. It's very clean. It's 6%, 72 IBUs. We use Warrior to Bitter, Simcoe, not Simcoe, Amarillo, Falconer's Flight, and those are the 3 hops. It's pale malt, it's 2-row and Crystal 30. So you do get a little bit of a biscuity note. It's a nice, sort of it's a pale color, but it's still got a slightly darker hue too. So you do get a little bit of a malty characteristic as well, but some really nice aromatics, a little lemon, some grapefruit and pine. It's a really great all day, every day sort of drinking IPA.
Yeah, when I first took a smell of it, I got a lot of that like biskiness, like you were saying. But then as you kind of give it a few more sniffs, you get that lemony sort of citrus starts to come out of it.
Yeah, it's one of our most popular beers that we do because it's hoppy enough that you get some great bitterness. It's nice and dry, but it's sessionable. You can drink a few of them when you're outside having a barbecue, hanging out with some friends, and still drive home, which is also really important.
Yes.
It is it does go down really easy, and it is really,
Could you say it's smooth?
dare I say, smooth.
I like how the malty backbone of it and how it balances really nice with the hops. It's a great drink all day kind of beer. It's nice.
Yeah, I do like that. It's not like hops and nothing else. It's got a lot more going on.
With all those
Yeah.
double IPAs out there, I mean, you have your Heady Topper
Which are
and
great,
your Pliner.
but-
They're great, but you can't
Right.
drink more than 1 or 2
And
of
something
those.
like
You're done.
the Gotterdammerung that we tried a little while ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's good, but it's over the top bitter, and that's what they kind of set out to do. But this is something you can go back
This
to.
does it. Yeah, it has that maltiness, a little sweetness in the background.
Look, and I love really bitter beers. I like big
Yeah.
beers. I like double IPAs, and there's so many great ones out there. So it's like sometimes I feel like everybody tries to like one up each other
Yeah.
on that standpoint, and there just weren't enough just really nice sessionable IPAs that we could really find. And this was a beer that we wanted to drink, and obviously now that we've put it out, seems like other people
Yeah.
want to drink it too. So
Myself included.
very nice. So this is a This is an American-style amber ale. It's called Forsaken. It's in our Lunatic Variety Pack. As you can see, it's a distinct amber. It's got a really rich amber color, nice clarity.
It's a very nice color, yeah.
You get a lot of roasted malts, obviously, because it is an amber from a base malt standpoint, but we use Simcoe and Zythos. So you get a little pine, little citrus, but it's not an India brown ale. It's not dry hop to have huge aroma like some of the other IBAs. It's supposed to be an amber ale with a really lovely bitter finish with some of that pine and citrus, some of those notes kind of right in the middle there. So we just released it again, new for the season, and people seem to really be enjoying it. So.
I get some tropical, like papaya, maybe a little pineapple fruit flavor. I love that.
Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorites, actually, because in the wintertime, I like a bigger, maltier beer, but I still like the hop flavor, maybe not the super bitterness from it. So this is my go-to in the wintertime, actually.
And it finishes nice and dry. I like that. It makes you want to go back and have another sip.
Yeah, it's got it. It ends very crisp.
Yeah, I could see this. This would pair very nicely with a meal. You like clean your palate.
Nothing vegan, of course.
Yeah. Everything vegan.
I do really like it though. It's like you said. It's something you can kind of keep going back to, much like the Evil IPA you could. But you get the maltiness out of it. You get.
I like that both of these beers are very subtle. They're not like not like one sort of thing just sort of punches out at you. There's a lot.
We go for balance. I know we talked about that the last time we were here as well. And what I like about this, it's 6.5%. It's not super light, but it's you can have several of these, and you shouldn't drive. You shouldn't drive anyway,
but you can still walk.
But you can still walk.
Yeah, you can still function.
Yeah. It's a great example of how craft beer. It doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be sickening sweet. It can still be complex and interesting and flavorful,
but still,
and refreshing.
But with a certain sort of humility,
yes,
if you will.
Hey.
A certain modesty.
I've never had this beer called Modest before, but
hey.
It might be blushing.
Yes, it is.
It is an amber, I guess.
But it is blushing. Yeah.
But don't worry, we've got some pretty wild stuff for you guys coming up. So we're sort of getting the more sessionable beers sort of out of the way before we get into the...
We were at a Khyber Pass on Friday, and they had this on tap. And whatever way their lighting works there, this wasn't, I mean, it's obviously quite amber looking, but it was like super amber looking. It was the best bar to see the beer in. It was like, because I saw it along the bar, and it's like, it was almost glowing.
Wow, that's awesome. Pretty cool. Yeah, I really like both of those. I really like that they're easy to drink. Like like I said, they're subtle.
Now which pack is that one available in?
It's in our Lunatic Variety Pack, which is brand new. You can find it in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and now Boston.
Ooh, Boston!
Oh, look at
that. We did have news. We forgot.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we just launched.
Yeah,
we just launched into the Boston market about a month ago.
That's why they won the World Series. It's all because of you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, because they were drinking Evil Genius.
Now this is one of our spiced fall beers. This is called Pumpkinstein. It's an American brown ale that we brew with some pumpkin, cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg.
With the smell, I really get the cinnamon out of it.
I like the color on this one.
Yeah, and it's a good dark color.
Did you add more spices to the recipe from last year?
Yeah, no, we changed everything.
So.
Yeah, we
it
know
tastes a lot different from last.
Yeah, we changed everything.
I mean, we're at a different brewery, so there was going to be relatively dramatic changes just because of water source. But we decided, given that there was going to be these changes, why not also make some other changes? So we upped a lot of I think we increased pretty much all the spices by about 25%. And we also switched from doing. Last year we were using whole cinnamon sticks, and we went to ground this year. So not that really changes that much, but it's different. So it was going to have some sort of effect as well. But I really like this one. I didn't even get to drink that much of it because we sold out of this beer so fast that we weren't doing a lot of tastings with it because it was just gone. So usually when I'm at tastings, like I'm tasting it with people. And so, I mean, I think I've had like 3 or 4 bottles of this in total, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's very good. You get
it's just gone.
You get the cinnamon and the aroma, maybe like a little clove with the spices.
It's a very welcoming spice because some of the ones you get can be just overpowering, kind of like with the hops with the IPAs and double IPAs. This one, it doesn't attack you. It's not like, oh, here's pumpkin and you're gonna forget about it in 3 months. Like it's something I want to hold on to.
I like that it's got a freshness. It's not thick and bready like a lot of pumpkin beers are, which can be nice, but it's a nice
It's not sweet too. It's
Right.
dry, and it really lets the spices shine.
Right.
You can pick them out. Nice.
Did I just hear what I
Did
think
you
I
hear
heard?
that?
Oh,
You can't not do
man.
it now.
There it is.
It's one of the last bottles in existence.
So
Oh my
for
God.
Really?
so for
Oh,
you,
wow.
so for you
My
guys,
God, I feel so honored.
because we like you guys so much,
Aw.
we decided to bring a bottle of our Trick or Treat chocolate pumpkin porter for all of you out there who have not had it.
you should have.
You
Yeah,
should
you
have.
should have. You really should
No, but
Next year.
Yeah, next year we're
Nah,
gonna
you can't.
Next year we're gonna make a lot more of it because we just want to thank everybody who actually went out and bought it this year because it was more successful than we could have even imagined.
We
and we have you
had-
guys to thank you.
We had a woman who lives in New Jersey who had contacted us looking for it. And in the meantime, I'd said to Luke, do you know any places there? And he contacted the wholesaler to try and find a few stores because we knew there were some cases available. And I had been at the beer yard in Wayne in Pennsylvania, and I saw that they had one case left. And I was like, Matt, I'm about to tweet a picture of that, and that's going to be sold by tomorrow. Because I knew that because I've been getting phone calls and I've been getting emails and stuff from people asking where they can get it. And eventually it turned out that she actually drove all the way down from New Jersey to buy the case for her husband.
Oh my God.
Which that was really cool to have someone actually go to that much effort for one of our beers. Like that's pretty awesome. Actually.
Yeah, and it's worth that.
Yeah.
Too. I had it.
I think she kind of thinks she's a little crazy, but,
no.
but the beer is pretty awesome.
But only a little.
Yeah, I mentioned it right after I had it after the second birthday party you guys had for Evil Genius.
Yeah,
that
thank
I
you for
had this-
coming. Yep.
It was so much fun, and you guys had this on tap there.
We did, yep.
And I could not believe it because you'd mentioned it when we had you on before, and I was so glad that I got not only to have it but to have it on tap. Oh my God, I think this will go down as my favorite pumpkin beer.
It's one of our favorites.
It's so good.
So it's an American style porter that we brew with pumpkin. We actually spiced it this year. Last year we didn't spice it at all. So it's cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg, and with pumpkin.
Oh God, it's so good.
So you
It's hard to get the spices when it's as cold as it is right now. As it warms up,
Yeah.
those spices come out a lot more.
The first sip, I got all chocolate and
Chocolate,
peanut
yeah,
butter.
very much chocolate
And then the
coming,
more
yeah.
you drink it, the more you notice the spices, which is nice. It's a nice way for the beer to finish.
And in some ways, because you just had the pumpkin stein, which would be a lot more spice forward because it's a not as malty and not as big a beer and doesn't have the chocolate in there. The spices are probably lower in that because we were trying to get the balance here that not having, too much chocolate that overpowers the spices, but also not having too much spices that you can't taste the chocolate because chocolate is the first word in the name as well. So if you don't have that, people will be very disappointed.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like you said, you go for the balance, and with this, it is so perfectly balanced. There's just every sip you get is going to be something different, but not in a kind of overpowering way because you'll still get that chocolate, you'll still get the spice, and it's sorry, like
This is very
beer
good.
porn.
a
Beer porn.
few episodes ago, I started gushing about creme brulee from Southern Tier, and this was the beer that dethroned that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You
Thank
did
you very
tell
much.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, it's not super sweet. It's sweet,
No.
but it's
Yeah.
not
It ends
super sweet.
nice and bitter.
It
really
does.
does.
Like
It does.
bitter
It cleans up at the
chocolate.
end with a nice bitter. You know what? It starts off with like a milky chocolate, and then at the end
Exactly.
you get the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful blood red.
Oh
I
my
love
God,
blood
yeah.
red beers. Wish I was a vampire.
But it's like you said, it doesn't end sweet, and that's the thing I didn't like about that creme brulee, even though it was so good. But while I was drinking it, I kind of felt like I was going to get diabetes from it. But with this, it's chocolate, but it's returned to chocolate. If that
Rich
makes
likes
sense.
it? Does Rich like it?
Look
at
Oh
that.
my God.
Rich does not
A
drink
beer that's not a Lime-A-Rita.
I was going to say his favorite beer is a Lime-A-Rita, and now he likes Trick or Treat.
Very nice.
awesome.
I
That
knew
is
he would
great
like it
praise.
because he loves dark chocolate and
Yeah.
the
Oh,
finish
you'll
of
love
this.
the stout too, which is coming up
Oh,
next.
that's right.
Yeah.
There's that. Oh,
So
man.
which we use the same chocolate in the stout, but obviously it doesn't have the spices, so it's a little different. And
Get
will
some-
probably be more, but there's a lot of roastier flavors from the actual stout that come through in that one. So.
Get a little vanilla, a little. Yeah, here we go.
Open it with your teeth.
Open
He's
it.
trying to point at me like subtly.
He's like,
Hand me that. Servant.
Yeah.
we could MacGyver it.
MacGyver.
And we got a paperclip and a rubber band.
The last time, I tried doing that trick where you fold a piece of paper a million different times, and then you can use the bottle opener. I cut my hand open.
Oh no! Okay, don't do that.
With this little beer barrel.
We're not insuranced, so
We are not insurance.
insured.
If you pronounce it like that, you definitely aren't.
Yes. You see us in court. I'm sorry, sir. We're not insurance.
You channeling Cletus there.
That's gotta go on the wall.
We don't got that
Dan,
fancy
you didn't get it,
insurance.
Oh, I didn't get it.
He did get some.
Oh, I did get
Oh
some.
yeah,
Okay,
here
there
it's
it
in
is.
your
Okay,
little
thank you.
barrel glass.
All right, cool.
Yeah, do you need this? I have not used this glass. If you want to use that.
Okay. I like this little tiny little thing.
It's an Omegang. It's an Omegang.
That's what she said.
You hear that a lot, right?
I do.
Hey,
You're
it's not.
average. And
It's not the size of the glass. It's the quality of the beer inside.
Very
That's right.
nice.
That sounds gross, actually.
It really does. All right, what is this one called?
This is
Pure
pure
evil.
evil.
Oh, this is Pure Evil.
So chocolate stout again.
Oh, it looks like Pure Evil.
It's not as it has a thinner mouthfeel than the Trick or Treat, but I like that because it has the carbonation is a little bit higher.
You're right. Yeah, it is. It is thinner.
It's
but,
funny.
but
This is one of the first times
fizzier.
I've actually tasted the two of them together because, as I said, that all of that pumpkin beer was just gone. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have no pumpkin beer at home. Luke found some at home that he had, like, because we have boxes of beer in various places, and so sometimes you'll pull out a bottle thinking it's something else, and it turns out you've thrown something else in the box. So he found these, and I was like, ooh. So this is actually really awesome to be able to do a comparison between the two
Yeah.
because we use a similar chocolate in both of them. It's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. You get that bitter chocolate finish.
Yeah, this
the
one
same
has more
thing.
of a dark chocolatey
Yeah.
taste to it than the other. But yeah, this is really good.
And which is interesting because I think that actually really comes from the malts more than the actual
More than
chocolate.
the chocolate,
Yeah.
right?
But
Right.
obviously that's just the taste.
I think Rich likes this one too.
Which one do you like better, Rich? This one or the Trick or Treat? You like the
Trick or treat.
Treat?
Yeah, I would have
That
guessed that
doesn't
he'd like that
surprise
one
me.
better. But
Yeah. It has more what?
coffee. Yeah, it does have a
This
coffee
one-
Yeah, we
flavor.
can kind of get that
The
out
bitter,
of it.
yeah.
Yep.
The
Coffee
bitterness is like roasted coffee. Yeah, it's good. This was a nice progression of beers
Yeah.
too. And that's one
Yes.
thing I really like about you guys, that I can go and buy a 6-pack, but get different beers in the 6-pack.
Yeah.
He's got like a bottomless box. He just keeps reaching and pulling bottles
Oh,
out.
you know, I completely forgot about the Christmas beers.
Yeah, we've got
I know. We're stuck
so
on these.
excited.
we've got like
like
10 more styles.
wrapping
in
this
here.
up.
We're gonna be here all night, guys.
Yeah, so the Pure Evil Chocolate Stout and the Forsaken Hoppy Amber Ale, which was the second one that we tried, those both come in a case. And then this year, we brew this winter warmer called Naughty or Nice with a Belgian yeast. And we've done it on draft for the last 2 years. And this is the first year that we've done it, that we're doing it on draft as well as in bottle. So you'll be able to find this for the first time in bottles at all of our different markets. So it's a really nice reddish brown winter warmer that we brew with the Best Stone yeast. And so you get a little bit of fruity notes, some fruity notes, some spices, and you get a little bit of sweetness from the Belgian yeast too. This is, at least for me personally, this is probably my favorite beer that we make. So
Going for the aroma, I can get the sweet and spicy out of it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
the Belgian yeast is all over this aroma.
Yeah, it really has a Belgian character.
This is getting me ready for Christmas.
Ooh,
This
banana.
this is exactly what I
Getting
want
banana.
in a Christmas beer.
Some
Oh,
sweet
wow.
banana bread. That's
Yeah,
really
I
good.
actually get a lot of banana from
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably from the yeast.
yeah,
But yeah, honestly, this is most of what you were describing earlier being the attributes of more traditional.
typical
Ours
Christmas
would be,
ale.
and like, we obviously we use it's a Belgian beer because we use that Belgian yeast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and the spices again, we didn't want to go over the top. We wanted you to taste them.
Yeah.
We didn't want you to get punched in the face with cinnamon
Right.
and clove.
Well, and I think the yeast is the star of this beer.
I
quite
think so, too.
honestly.
I
mean,
love
you,
this yeast strain,
You get
like-
the spice at the end, but the yeast is the shining star.
no, it's such a cool yeast strain. We got it for the first time actually from Yards Brewing Company. We were making a Belgian IPA, and they just happened to have a strain of Belgian yeast that they lent us, and it's a White Lab strain, and we've just fallen in love with it. It's just such a cool yeast, and we use it on all of our Belgian beers, and I think it really helps cut through. Like, you don't get a lot of astringency from the spices at all. Like, you know, they're there, but they're mellow enough. You get some fruitiness left over from the Belgian yeast, but a lot of the characteristics of a winter beer are still there, but I just really think enhanced, and I think the yeast is the key component. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it has that nice, like I said, banana and like a bready
Yep.
Sort of that really comes out, and I really like it.
With the Trick or Treat and the Pure Evil and this one as well. What I really like about these beers that are a little bigger, because the Trick or Treat was 7.8, the Pure Evil is, well, actually the Pure Evil is only 5.6, so it's a little smaller in that way. But then this one's 7.2. But I love, as you're drinking a beer, when you get the different flavors as the beer warms up. So that really works mostly for maltier beers and spiced beers, because those things, as the temperature rises, it kind of comes out a little bit more.
Or
when you do that with a Miller
barrel-aged
Lite, it
beers.
doesn't taste so good.
For many reasons.
This now tastes like an old sock.
I'm getting hints of gym bag. Oh, those are very good.
My God. I'm at a loss for words.
I downed the other ones, but I want to take my time with this.
See, that's kind of how I was with the Trick or Treat. I didn't want to finish it. I wanted there to be a little bit more that was left.
All mine.
There's a little bit more in
have
there
it.
if you want some.
Oh man, I might have to.
Some more Pure Evil too.
Make it so. Yeah, actually, are you going to take all that?
Here.
Yeah, I was going to say, save me a little
There's
bit.
some more over here, man.
Oh, it's all over the place.
Yeah, Steph isn't sharing.
There's
forgot-
no
it's
more.
gone.
over
I
here.
forgot about Trevor's magic box of beer. It's never empty.
Yeah, I got another case down here, actually.
What about Trevor's Magic Box?
Wow.
That's my flower.
Okay.
Twinkle Cave.
Can you tell we've been drinking?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Please leave that in.
Of course. You should know by now that most things get left in.
Yeah.
Unless,
Really?
Well,
We've learned.
well.
I'll leave it me saying insurance if I can leave this in for you.
Insurance. We're not insurance. Yeah.
Wow. How
Our
powerful.
last episode devolved at the end as well.
Well, that we went for like an hour and 45 minutes.
My favorite part at the end when we were outroing.
Oh God.
And we kept and you're looking at me and everybody's laughing. You're like, just say your name. Just say your name.
Say my name.
Oh
Say
no.
my name.
No,
say my
no,
name.
no. Let's not get sued.
What's my name? Say my name, bitch.
That was one of the 7 words.
Michelle.
Wicca Wicca Slim Shady.
Oh God.
So we just released the Naughty or Nice. Actually, it just started showing up. We're in a lot of the Wegmans. They've been a big buyer for us this year of the Naughty or Nice. So you're going to start seeing it in stacks in different places, which is really cool. But honestly, we could have made more of it. It was one of those things that when you're buying packaging for all these things, there's minimum orders, which sometimes especially for like one-off releases, we sometimes don't meet. So it's kind of a case where, okay, we got to buy it and we're holding on to a few hundred boxes until next year, which, kind of sucks. Not really what we would like to be doing. But as it turned out, we were kind of lucky because we ended up with extra packaging. When we realized how well the product was being received, we were able to put an extra batch of it into production, and we'll be left with very little packaging because of that.
Because you already had it. Yeah.
But ultimately, if we'd had more packaging, we may have even made more of it.
Yeah.
But so it's a good problem to have. But this is going to be hitting stores, but there's really not a lot of it actually out there, because it's a special one-off release. So
Wow.
if you're looking to buy it, get it while you can.
Yeah, if you
hands on
see it
it.
on the shelves, get it while you can because somebody else will.
Or you can go to our website, evilgeniusbeer.com. We have a beer finder on there. You can type in your zip code, and it'll show you the closest store to you in the areas that I mentioned earlier that has our beer for sale. And chances are that they pre-ordered some Naughty or Nice. So call your local beer store to make sure they have it.
And most places will order it in for you if they haven't. So
It's very much on the shelves at all the Wegmans in this area,
Yeah.
in the Philly area. I've been there and they have huge stacks of it. So
that's great.
get it and pick it up now.
Yeah. No, they've been really good. I just love Wegmans. I love the fact that you can buy a 6-pack and not have to, be then left with. I mean, there's been times when, you get that case and you have 2 and you're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
That's 22 long bottles later.
Yep. I've got accustomed to buying my alcohol in New Jersey. I work at a mall in New Jersey, and there's a Total Wine right across the street, and that's where you can go in, and it's a bottle shop. You can buy, you can make your own mix and match 6-pack. You can go get a pre-made one. You can get a case, whatever. But if I ever have to buy my alcohol in Pennsylvania again, I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Well, there's a distributor in the shopping plaza where I work, but they own its cases and kegs.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a state law. It's just the way
exactly.
It is, yeah.
And I mean, I would go there, and I mean, I love getting mixed sixes. That's my thing, because I don't like to drink like a ton of the same beer. Like if I'm going to go out and buy some beer, I want to get try a bunch.
No,
of
people
things.
want variety, and like
Yeah.
it hurts breweries like us that are smaller because you're just more likely like, oh, I got to buy a case of this, and then you're more likely to say, well, I've had Sierra Pale 100. Not that that's one of my favorite beers. I'm not knocking it, but like there are times when you're just like, I'd like to go back to like a default that I know is good, and you're less likely to take a risk on a new and up and coming craft beer.
Makes it tough for the little guy.
Exactly. Whereas like you go to New Jersey and you're like, $10 a 6-pack. Yeah, I'll try. It's 6
why
beers.
not?
It's not really that much of a commitment,
Yeah.
So you're most likely to try
It's not
something
much of a
new there.
commitment.
I'm afraid of commitment.
That's what she said.
Oh man!
So of all the beers, what's everyone's
I
favorite?
knew you were going to ask that question.
That is a
He's
good
in
question.
my mind now.
He is.
Well, Forsaken has always been one of my favorite of your beers, but
Thank you.
I think this is the first time I've had Naughty or Nice. I don't think I've had
We
it
didn't do it in
before.
bottles last year. It was a limited release and draft, and in fact, the wholesaler up here didn't get any.
Then
So,
this is definitely the
yeah,
first time I've had
wouldn't
it, and
surprise me
I really like it. I've
Thank
been
you.
really
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Thank you
So,
very much.
As you can see, that I've hoarded the second one.
You really have.
We know what
geez.
Dan's favorite is.
Okay, so I've gushed about that one enough, so I feel like I have to pick another. So there's Trick or Treat, and then there's 5 that I got to pick an equal out of. I'm gonna go honestly Naughty or Nice. I'm gonna go with that one because it's inviting and it's warming, kind of like the Christmas season should be, your holiday season, depending on whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
But it's something that I want to go back to. Steph, I understand why you hoarded that last bottle.
Yeah.
I might steal your tasting glass very shortly.
There's still a little bit in the bottle. I will share it if you want it.
I got to be fair to everyone else.
you
But
don't.
I will go.
Yeah, you
Trick or
totally
Treat.
don't. Like we have it all the time, so it's really only that
Well,
guy.
it's Wayne, and he's in charge of a lot of things that I need to get done, and he's building another website for me, so I can't offend Wayne.
Oh yeah, I don't get offended.
I will go to Wegmans and I will buy more of it. Don't worry. It's all good.
They have stacks and stacks of it.
Yeah. So Trick or Treat aside, I'm going Naughty or Nice also. Not to say that any of them are bad. I loved every single one of them.
Oh, thank you.
They're all very good. It's a tough choice. The Naughty or Nice was very good. I think what was the chocolate porter, not the pumpkin one, but
Pure Evil.
The
Pure Evil
stout.
Stout.
The stout.
the
yeah.
stout. Excuse me, stout. I really, as far as like the darker, heavier, sweeter beers, those two I really like. I think I might have liked Naughty or Nice a little bit more. But I really like the first two as well. I really like the idea, the fact that they were very easy, and
Yeah,
they were
they're
very
good
subtle.
go-to beers.
Yeah,
like
they
if
were
you just
very-
want a 6-pack to like sit out by the fire.
Like
go
that's a beer where
camping.
like, I'm not, I have with a meal, or I'm not sitting down and thinking I want to have a really crazy, kind of beer. I just want a really good quality, subtle beer that I can enjoy, and I really liked both of those.
And that's the thing, like with the Naughty or Nice or the Trick or Treat, it's probably not something that you're going to have 3 or 4 of with over the course of a meal and like that, like the early evening, because they're big beers. There's a lot of flavor. Sometimes those don't go so well necessarily with certain types of meals.
Right.
But the Forsaken or the Evil Eye as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you can drink a few of them, and I love that style of beer. That's my style of beer. I love the big beers too, but
Right.
I like a beer that I can have several of,
Right.
and not burn my palate out.
Right, and not worry about is it what am I eating, or if you're drinking other beers with it as well, or a beer before or after, like that. It's just it'll go with anything. It's nice and easy, and yeah.
Exactly.
I actually just watched my very last lecture for the Craft Brewers Apprenticeship Program through the American Brewers Guild.
Cool.
But it was by Garrett Oliver, and he's a master of his craft. And one thing he mentioned
not
is
good at holding a glass.
Oh, we have a story about that. I'll
interesting.
tell you
You'll
after
have to share.
Yeah.
But one of the things he shared is that someone said to him that you should go out and you should have your beer 4 times. Have 4 pints of it. And if you can have 4 pints of your beer in a row and still love it, then you have a good beer there. And that's something to be said, because we love these big beers and these creative beers, but can you really sit there and drink 4 pints of them?
yeah.
Maybe one, but when you've really mastered one of those great beers and you can sit and have 4 pints of it, then kudos to you. So, but I need to hear this story now.
We were at a party last year at GABF, and Garrett Oliver was there, and Luke was talking to him, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Oh yeah. Well, no.
Now it sounds really dirty.
Well, no, I wasn't. No, I was talking to Vinny from Russian River, and Garrett, and I guess Garrett Oliver had come into the party, and he was coming around the corner, and was like trying to introduce himself to me, and I was holding a beer and like slapped the beer out of my hand, and I spilled it like all over myself. So here I am like at this party, like trying to look cool with all these like heavy hitter beer guys, and I'm in the corner like looking like I just pissed my pants.
What I said to Luke though is, do you know how many people would kill to have Garrett Oliver spill a beer on them?
This is true. Very
I'm
true.
never washing these pants again.
It was tough to pick a favorite. So, out of the beers that we tried, what are your favorites? Bet you didn't see that one coming, did
No.
you?
Blindsided.
The tables have turned.
That's a gotcha question by the
Yeah.
lamestream media.
It is. It really is.
There are beers that like, there are beers that I really enjoy.
No, of these ones.
No, I know, but nice. There are beers that I really enjoy that, you know, like a lot of people would pick the Trick or Treat like as one of their favorite beers, which I really, really like. I like the Pumpkinstein a lot. Just for me and just my personal tastes, like I like brown ales, I like kind of big spices, I like a little sweet malt, sweetness from the malts that I get from that beer, and then really the Evil Eye for me, like it's one of the things that we just love that beer, and people really love it and they respond well to it. So that's my go-to when I'm outside doing yard work. I have a case of that in the cooler, and I'm just that's my I can drink 4 in a row and really, really enjoy it. So
that one to me kind of feels like a flagship beer.
Yeah.
Of Evil Genius.
Yeah,
like that's sort of
absolutely.
like and
That's a
then
good
the
way to put it.
name too.
Yeah, Evil IPA.
It's a good
It's the
Yeah.
only beer that we do year round right now.
No.
Purely because IPAs, as we all know, they're very, very popular. So and we sell a lot of it to the point where, you know, there's been times in the past couple of weeks where there's been like some out of stocks
Right
on it
now?
in certain places. Actually, right now, yeah. And because it started, you know, selling quite fast in the past couple of months, just because the latter half of the year everyone sells a lot more beer than they do in the first half. People go to the gym in January.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Resolution. Yeah, really. Jim.
But yeah, it's a really great beer that we love making, and I love seeing it on draft because when bars that have it on all the time, obviously the pace of it slows down because people tend to come in and they look for something new. But when it goes on for the first time in a bar, it flies because people really like it because it's new and because they actually really, really like it. Whereas if you see something's been on draft, even if you haven't had it, but you see it's been on draft and you come back in a second time, you're like, well, that's always here. And so beers sometimes get left for that. And that's why our industry is very much what's new.
Yeah.
That's why there's always a new beer coming out from everybody.
Yeah. What about the black IPA? Is that one you guys are still doing that?
Is that the Stink IPA?
Well,
IPA.
the next one is the brown IPA.
Brown IPA.
Nice. No, we're going to be doing that as like some special release stuff on draft,
Okay.
and then we're going to be bringing it back in bottles. But we that and our Belgian IPA we kind of at least temporarily put on the back burner because we had to brew all this freaking pumpkin and Christmas beer. So you know we you know but there actually have been a lot of people asking for those two beers, and they will make an appearance again in 2014.
Very cool.
But
The black eye we'll see on draft again relatively soon. It's probably, it might well be my favorite of all the beers that we do throughout the entire year.
yeah.
I just love that beer.
It's Citra and Simcoe. That's just those two hops and a black IPA. It's
The first time I got a bottle of that home, I was so excited to try it. It was right after we had you guys on. And I got home, and I was so excited to open it. I opened it up, and then it just exploded everywhere. I was more so upset that I couldn't drink it than I was that it got on my shirt and ruined the shirt that I was wearing. But I mean, it was a crappy shirt anyway. It was an undershirt for when I was working throughout the day, but I just wanted that beer, so I had to go back and buy another one. So
If I'd known, I would have brought you some.
no.
I just because I was talking about earlier, we find bottles randomly in places.
Right.
I just found about 2 bottles of black IPA actually. So
It was really good. I went back and I got another one the next day after work, and it was just that anticipation with that the day before made it so much better.
yeah.
awesome.
So good. I'm glad to hear it's coming back.
Yeah. It's pumpkin beer, and then it's Christmas beer craziness.
Yep. And then it's back to the
Then
it's the regular stock.
Yeah, well, actually, we're gonna do some new cool, like the Siren that you guys tried as part of the Super Villain Pack. That's gonna come out like as a straight case, like that'll be on its own, starting starting in like the February, March time. So you'll be able to. We'll come back and talk about the spring beers and stuff when we have some new things. But
21,
yeah, no, but that'll be its own case. And then we're gonna do. We were talking in the car. We're knocking some recipes around for an Imperial IPA with 8 different hops. So we're really working on that right now. So there'll be some really cool stuff in the new year that we're gonna do as sort of again some special release things, but just keep looking out. And Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Monkey
Very excited to try that one. Wow.
Patent pending.
Yeah. Now, let's not forget that all the beers that we have tried here today will be checked in on our Untapped account. We are Beer Busters on there. We also have our Instagram and Twitter accounts where we are at Beer Busters, and you can also follow the gentlemen that are here at Evil Genius Beer. Correct?
Yep.
All right. Cool. There's also, we're on Google Plus, which apparently they let you do a vanity
we
URL
just
now.
found out Google Plus does allow you to have a dedicated URL after you meet certain requirements, one of which is just being plain friggin' awesome. And we meet those requirements. So you can now go to plus.google.com/plus Beerbusters podcast.
Wait, you just did that without looking at anything.
Because that's what it is.
You actually remembered that.
Well, it's plus.google.com is Google Plus.
Yeah.
And then /plus Beerbusters podcast.
Now, do you feel the need to
Not
say
difficult.
/ Because it's slash and there's backslash.
Well,
You
some
don't have to say
people
forward
well,
slash.
some people call it / and backslash and backslash. Let's say stroke. That's what the Brits say.
I think that's a medical thing.
I smell toast.
Okay. On that.
But yeah, you can find us on Google Plus.
Cool. If you happen to find yourself in 2005, you can check out our MySpace also.
Yes.
There is Facebook.com/Beerbusters Podcast, and there's also Facebook.com/Evil Genius Beer. Is it?
Yeah, Evil Genius Beer
Co.
Yes.
Evil Genius Beer Co. Sorry.
I remember that, and you didn't.
Yeah, I know.
I had no idea. I thought it was like J47534.
Like
Pound
Google
sign.
made you do that.
Underscore asterisk.
Just go to evilgeniusbeer.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Just
always
do that.
that.
You can
Or
find a link there.
Just go to beerbusterspodcast.com.
It's like you took the words right out of my mouth.
I did. I reached into your brain and I pulled them out through your right eye socket.
That's what I felt.
Yep, that's what
Okay,
that was.
I thought I was having a stroke.
with my mind.
No.
No. But don't forget, you can also buy Beer Buster swag in our brand new Beer Buster swag shop.
Yes.
You can buy T-shirts, you can buy hats, you can buy stickers, you can buy pins, and soon we're gonna have beer steins, we're gonna have coasters, we're gonna have all kinds of stuff. Because I just sit at home and just come up with designs, and then I just slap them on things because I can do that, and you can buy them, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah. And if you
Don't forget, you can also win. You can also win an Evil Genius T-shirt, an Evil Genius pint glass. Just send us a name of an obscure beer that we've never heard of that makes us giggle, and you could win that awesome swag as well.
And if you don't win that, you can buy these things, correct? EvilGeniusBeer.com?
Yeah, we have our own store. Yep.
See, there you go. So, if you don't win, all hope is not lost.
Also, don't forget, this is the last thing I swear to
newsletter!
God. You can sign up for the Beer Busters podcast newsletter. I'm going to be sending out the first issue soon. I swear to God, I know I've mentioned it in like the last 3 episodes.
Are there going to be outtakes in the first issue?
Well, one of the things we're talking about doing is doing exclusive things just for people that sign up for our newsletter.
We are?
We've been.
Oh.
We've had this conversation.
Have we?
Yes.
On air.
On air?
And off. And so one of the things we're thinking, one of the exclusive special bonuses if you sign up for our newsletter is we're probably going to put together at some point an outtake compilation, and there's going to be some pretty raunchy and interesting things in there.
And I'm
I
sure.
feel like it's going to be 90% loot.
Yes.
A lot of it's going to be loot.
The evil
Yes,
geniuses
yes.
will definitely be a
There's
part
going
of
to be ratemypodcast.com.
Listener discretion
Something
advised.
like that,
That's a euphemism. In case you
For
wanna pick
another
up
word
on
that starts
one.
with P.
Yes. N-O. P-N-O. But yeah, sign up for the newsletter. You will also get other things. You'll get updates on what episode's coming up, what episode we've just done, stuff in our blog, interesting stuff we find on the interwebs, and whatever stuff I feel like typing into the internet and throwing at you, you will get. So sign up. It'll be super awesome fun.
You'll be able to find out when you get insurance, right?
Yeah, and you'll know when
Yes.
you get insurance.
As soon as we are insured, you will know.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, this, my friends, does unfortunately bring us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters Podcast. And it's a gentleman by the name of Billy Carter that says there is no such thing as bad beer. It's that some taste better than others. Yeah, it's about accurate, except for, Miller Coors Bud. But We would like to thank you for coming along for this ride. We'd also like to thank Luke and Trevor for coming back today. Thank you so much. We look forward to
problem.
having
No,
you
we
guys.
love being here.
having us.
Can't wait to have you guys back on again if you feel so inclined.
No.
No, not surprised. Not surprised.
That's my word.
He's dropping the mic. I'm out.
Well, my name is Dan Baker. As always, I'm joined by the co-host and brewologist
Steph Hefner.
and our firm entertainer,
The Wayne Baker.
the Wayne Baker. Thank you for joining us, my friends, and until next time, we bid you adieu. Bye. We ran out of music.